Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're jumping right into a pretty mind-blowing realization about where real, reliable, generational wealth actually comes from. We live in an era where everyone is obsessed with the next massive disruption. We constantly hear about the glitz and glamour of high-tech innovation, AI, and revolutionary software. But what if I told you that the real secret to building an empire is hiding right in plain sight, in the absolute most mundane places you could possibly imagine? Seriously, prepare to have your perspective totally shifted, because we're looking at some eye-opening stories that will completely change how you view those everyday businesses around your neighborhood.
So, let's just address the elephant in the room. We all know the modern dream, right? It's the dream of creating the next big app, securing millions in venture capital, and becoming the next Elon Musk. It sounds incredible. But here's the incredibly painful truth staring us right in the face. 90% of flashy new startups fail. They completely crash and burn. People pour their life savings, years of their time, and endless energy into trying to reinvent the wheel, only to find out that the market simply doesn't want or need their shiny new invention.
To really understand this, let's look at a story from our source material about an entrepreneur named Nico. Now, Nico had a massive dream. He was sitting on his couch, absolutely devastated, mourning the failure of his latest brainchild, which was a cat-themed dating app. Yeah, you heard me right. A dating app for cats. Nico took the flashy tech startup route that relies on catching a viral trend. But as he sat there surrounded by unused cat toys, he had this massive realization. There's a whole other world of boring businesses quietly operating in the background, totally out of the spotlight, that are literally printing money. The real money isn't in trying to force a shiny new industry into existence.
And that realization led to this brilliant quote from Nico. Why chase flashy when boring makes billionaires? I really want you to let that sink in for a second. This epiphany was Nico's call to adventure. But instead of an adventure to Silicon Valley, it was an adventure into the totally unglamorous world of everyday problem solving. It's a world where millions and sometimes billions of dollars are quietly being made while everyone else is distracted by the latest trending topic on social media.
All right, let's move into our first section: sandwiches, trash, and billionaires. Just look at the incredible contrast between a totally mundane product and the immense wealth it generated. Take Jimmy John, for example. He didn't build a complex tech empire. He didn't write a single line of viral code. He sold sub-sandwiches, just plain, boring sandwiches. And yet, he scaled that simple concept and sold his chain for billions. Or consider Wayne Huizenga. He literally built enormous wealth from picking up garbage, waste management, and trash collection. I mean, you can't get less glamorous than garbage, right? But he became a billionaire multiple times over. These legendary entrepreneurs didn't do anything flashy. They just provided simple, essential services that people need every single day. So, the crucial point here is this: the real treasure isn't in Silicon Valley. It's hiding in the boring businesses that everyone else completely ignores. It turns out that the industries nobody brags about at cocktail parties, the ones that never get magazine covers or viral documentaries, are exactly the ones generating the most reliable, consistent cash flow. Because they aren't relying on a fad, they're relying on human necessity.
Moving right along to Section 2, Automated Cash Flow Machines.
First up on this list, laundromats and dry cleaning. I guarantee you, absolutely nobody goes to a networking event and brags about owning a laundromat. It's just not a sexy conversation starter. But here's the absolute genius of it. The machines are doing the heavy lifting. They're working 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, fulfilling a constant, never-ending need. People will always need clean clothes. It's a foundational human requirement, which means customers are guaranteed to constantly come back. And this brilliantly illustrates the financial reality of that constant need. While other so-called entrepreneurs are having panic attacks checking volatile crypto markets at 3 in the morning, laundromat owners are sleeping soundly. They're quietly collecting quarters, running credit card swipes, and generating anywhere from $500,000 to $1 million a year in incredibly stable recurring cash flow. They are essentially living like kings off of literal pocket change.
Similarly, we have automated car washes. This business model thrives on a very simple, very reliable piece of human psychology. People absolutely love driving shiny, clean cars, but they passionately hate spending their weekend washing them by hand. An automated car wash takes advantage of this by offering a simple, repeatable service that requires almost zero human staff to actually operate.
And the numbers here are just staggering. Because the overhead is so low, you're essentially just paying for water, soap, and the maintenance of automated machinery. These are incredibly high-margin businesses. A well-placed automated car wash can easily pull in over $1 million a year. Think about that for a second. Water, soap,
And boom, you have a multi-million-dollar asset class that practically runs itself while you focus on other things.
Okay, let's jump to Section 3, high-margin everyday services.
Have you ever noticed just how much stuff we all accumulate? As Nico looked around at his own mountain of unused cat toys, he realized a fundamental truth about modern society. People constantly buy way more stuff than they can actually fit in their homes. And what's the solution? Self-storage lockers. The real magic of this business is the psychology behind it. The reality is, once people put their stuff into a storage unit, they rarely, if ever, take it out. It becomes an out-of-sight, out-of-mind monthly subscription just to keep their clutter safe.
Because the overhead for a concrete box with a roll-up door is practically zero, self-storage boasts absolutely crazy profit margins, consistently over 50%. This mundane necessity is exactly what has turned companies like Public Storage into absolute juggernauts, worth tens of billions of dollars. It is an incredibly lucrative real estate play, brilliantly disguised as a boring necessity.
Now, vending machines work on a very similar principle of deeply ingrained human habit. Step 1 is remarkably humble. You place a machine that might only make $50 to $100 a week. Doesn't sound like much, right? But step 2 is where the magic happens. You scale that up to hundreds of locations across a city. Step 3, you're suddenly generating a massive, passive six-figure income. Because let's face it, humans simply cannot resist the convenience of a quick snack or a cold drink. It's a biological impulse that these operators have figured out how to monetize at scale.
And then we come to the absolute ironclad guarantees in life: death and taxes. These two inevitabilities are what drive a staggering global accounting market worth well over $600 billion. Every single person who earns money and every single business that operates is legally mandated to deal with taxes and accounting. It is a built-in, globally enforced customer base.
As Neko humorously noted while looking at this industry, humans fear the IRS way more than they fear dogs. This universal and honestly very rational fear of tax audits ensures that accounting and tax services will absolutely never go out of style. You don't need to be a massive corporate firm to win here, either. This built-in demand allows even small, local accounting firms to reliably pull in 7 figures a year after year, regardless of what the broader economy is doing. Which brings us to our final section: boring makes billionaires.
To quickly summarize the underlying wealth mechanics we've discussed today, laundromats and car washes leverage 24/7 demand combined with automation. Self-storage? That's a clever play on human psychology yielding 50+% profit margins. Vending machines represent highly scalable passive income based on impulse, and accounting relies on a guaranteed universal need enforced by law. Whether it's trash money, laundry money, storage money, snack money, or tax money, these businesses don't rely on trends. They thrive on extreme consistency and high demand.
The main takeaway I really want you to leave with today is this: boring isn't sexy. No one is going to make a Hollywood movie about your self-storage empire, but boring pays the bills. And more than that, boring builds empires. If you genuinely want to build real wealth, the smartest move you can make might just be to stop chasing the shiny, volatile trends of the tech world and instead take a long, hard look at the perfectly mundane businesses operating right next door to you.
I'll leave you with this final, provocative thought from Nico to ponder. As you map out your own future and decide what kind of empire you want to build, ask yourself, would you rather build a flashy startup that has a 90% chance of failing? Or would you rather own a boring business that quietly, reliably prints cash? The choice is entirely yours. Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer, and keep looking for the hidden mechanics of the world around you.